Hey there, folks. Just gonna do a quick video. This, if you hopefully you watched the other Sidekick video I made. I know it was kind of long, so I'm gonna try to make this one shorter. But I'm doing another one, and I'm kind of focusing more on. I'm gonna use this term loosely, but market research. So I'm in the tech industry. I also like to trade, and we got FOMC coming out with a potential rate cut, no rate cut announcement this week. And I'm pretty knowledgeable in the tech space since I've been in the industry for a while. And I was just thinking to myself, maybe there's a couple of opportunities that I'm not aware of necessarily that Sidekick could assist me with finding based on all the data that it has. So if you didn't watch the other video, I'll give a really quick recap because again, I want to keep this video short. Sidekick is TrendSpider's AI LLM model integration. It's a mouthful, but basically they coded this sucker to be able to pull all the data TrendSpider has available, be it uh, institutional filings, insider filings, unusual options. It has access to all the price data, the volume data, you name it. It's got access to everything: analysts, upgrades, downgrades, etc. So that's what this is. TrendSpider, if you don't know, I know I use a lot of TradingView. I share a lot of TradingView charts, TrendSpider charts. This is their platform, and it's pretty good. There's some differences. They don't have market internals on intraday time frames, so that's why I don't use them more often for intraday type charts and videos and whatnot. But anyways, so that's what this is. That's what TrendSpider is. That's what Sidekick is. This is the chat window for Sidekick. As the header would indicate, it is currently in beta status, meaning it could be quirks. Also, disclaimer, I'm not really good at those. I probably should be improving on this, but none of this is advice for investment or managing investments or anything of that nature. This is purely educational. I'm just sharing my process, some new ideas of what I'm using this tool for, and sharing it with you all because I find this very fascinating. I think there's a big opportunity for saving some time. Regular market research that I try to keep up with, but due to a busy life, I don't get to do it as much as I would like. And so hopefully this kind of bridges that gap for me. So anyways, we're going to head right in. What I asked it to do was find stocks, focus on ones that are beaten down, that would benefit the most from a rate cut next week that follows some of the big technical themes that have been impacting the market, being AI. So, case in point, I'm using AI right now to ask about market AI impacts, semiconductors, data centers, green energy, all that stuff. So I asked it that, and yeah, just want to see the themes that have been hitting the market now, I think, for about a year or so. What is there any opportunities before this rate cut's announced or not? Obviously I don't know. Wish I did. Load up on calls or load up on puts. Anyways, so I asked this a little bit earlier last week, so if the prices are a little different, it's not a big deal, but just FYI, I asked this on September 12th, and it pulls up AMD. Interesting, makes total sense, and I had kind of looked at this one. It's down 24%. So this one's on my radar already, so it's interesting. It does pull this out, and it gives you some reasons for it. Gross profit margin, 50% Q1. Looks like they've got some chip names pulled out here. So this is. I'm going to get off on a tangent. I'm trying not to, but Sidekick. This is a perfect example of the power of the marriage of tech LLM stuff with the charts and all of the data. It's because you have this, right? This really has nothing to do with the stock chart, but yet TrendSpider's platform and their integrations, whoever they've whoever they partnered with to get this in here, yeah, it's pulling in this stuff. So you can actually do market research. 35% upside to recent analyst targets. So recovery potential, that's pretty good. 35%, right? That'd be like best case scenario profit potential. So of course, I should say probably more about the 24% would be like best case, more realistic, maybe half of that. And then depending on how you manage it and what you want to do, like maybe 35%. But yeah, I'm not sure about that, but still cool. ASML, okay, that's cool. LRCX. So we get all these, and then we get a nice little table here. Compare fundamentals. Nice. Current PE, AMD's pretty high. It's the highest one on this list. Gross margins, debt ratio, low debt ratio. It's very neat. You even get the sector breakdown here. Semiconductor equipment versus semiconductor or solar. Not really interested in that. 52-week highs, yeah, 80%, 70%, no thanks. 40% is even like, yeah. I'd rather find something that is holding up well. I don't think market-wise, macro-wise, we're at a point where I feel like we could buy 80% dips and see asymmetrical upside. Not without some kind of unknown hit, internal change or something in the company, and at that point, nobody's going to know until it's hindsight. So, yeah, these ones I think are pretty cool. So they're all semiconductors, no shock there. Reduce financing costs, yeah, I don't know what it was. So then once that hit, I asked it because I'm a big believer in data center growth. With all these LLMs, without getting too technical, it's kind of like the early chip days. We've got kind of a linear curve, not exponential right now. And there's going to need to be some kind of scientific breakthrough, either in the LLM model encoding or chip design, power efficiency, etc. But these data centers are the only way right now that we have to distribute the LLMs, and because most computers at the retail level are too weak to run big stuff. I mean, it's the data centers have to expand because all the data centers that are currently out there, or at least a lot of them, they're made more for CPU compute, memory, and disk, and the GPUs, a couple of them per, I don't know, server rack. So you got like complete 180 now. Nobody's interested in CPUs as much. Obviously, you still need powerful CPUs, but the GPUs where all the compute's happening for these LLMs. And so what do you do if you've got a data center that can't really, you can't retrofit a 10x, 100x request for GPUs from your customers? Well, you got to go build another one. It's not like you can just break down a wall, slap a new one on, and roll in some new racks. Like it doesn't work like that because you've got cabling. The data centers are very specifically designed and fine-tuned for airflow and cooling and dust, cable management, you name it. I won't claim to be an expert, though I know people that have built them. There's a lot there. So data center growth, we're going to do whole new ones. And then you got the power implications, the local grids, generators for downtime, you name it. So these suckers are going to be growing exponentially to handle the non-exponential efficiency growth in the LLM space. Demand, I highly doubt demand for AI integrations and LLMs and more and more powerful, increasingly powerful LLM models. All that stuff's going to continue to grow. So, I pivoted this and I said, okay, besides the ones you just mentioned up here that we just looked at, these guys here, what are some other ones that would assist with tremendous growth in data center demands? Because again, you just heard my spiel. That's what I think. NVIDIA, no shock there. Definitely in the lead. Broadcom. So it looks like they just had earnings. Yeah, I think 21% gainer already. Micron, another 33% gainer. TSM, no chart for TSM. No love there, Simon. Okay. I think TSM's an ADR, which means like in America, if you want to trade, you got to pay fees. So I don't know. I'd probably skip it just for that. Some cheap. Storage, yep, it's good. Gonna have storage demands. These models are huge, although it's different. Snowflake, yeah, they're kind of coming back a little bit. Cloudflare, interesting. DLR, data center REITs. So okay, data center REITs. So anyways, it's got all these listed out here. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet. So here's some other ideas for you to look at. Let me know in the comments any of these that you're interested in or know something about. That'd be great. Share what you know. Any interesting charts as well, feel free to share. Micron, memory, Broadcom's, like all the little ancillary chips inside of like network routers, switches, even the computers, motherboards, little controllers. Oh man, they're so pervasive everywhere. I don't know much about Pure Storage. 44% post earnings surge. Okay. Micron, Pure Storage, PSTG. So let's see if I click on this, does it? Oh, it does change my chart automatically. That's cool. All right, so let's see here. Can I shrink that down anymore? Nope. All right. Wow. Well, they're at all-time highs. Not wow. Look at that buy volume. Let's see other. So earnings. Yeah. They went, man. Gone. Okay. AVGO. Yeah, all-time highs there. Okay. MU. Yeah, I already looked at them. DLR. All right, DLR is kind of interesting. So this is the Digital Realty Trust. I think this is the REIT. Oh, and actually pays. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Pay some dividends. 3.3%. So that's interesting. So we can turn on dividends here. Do we get any dark pool analyst estimates? Oh, that's all just right there. Okay. Mentions in Wall Street bets. Yeah, there's been some. That's cool. Short volume. Low shorts. Crop shorts. All right. Interesting. So here's one. DLR. And again, not advice, not investment advice whatsoever. This is all just me digging around here. So this one, if we hold this base here, break through this quarterly gap, I'm going to look at like a 10% conservative. That's not bad. Interesting. Let's turn these lines off. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so I just want to share this. Another use case. Again, I'm just kind of making a couple more videos off and on here. I think about Sidekick. I think it's an interesting feature. If you didn't watch the other video, I know it's long, but I would definitely, I think you could learn something from it. I think TrendSpider is still having a 50% discount for like a trial or whatever. So I think it would be worth investigating, worth spending a week on and taking a look. I mean, it can simplify a lot. If you do a lot of market research like this, it can simplify quite a lot. If you didn't watch the other video, one of the things that I coded this thing to do with just like a special prompt, nothing fancy, but I ask it for any stock, like provide the trade seekers options report. So I had AMD up at the time, so it pulls that out, pulls my chart out, and does a bunch of analysis cross fundamentals, institution, options, chart, price data, volume data, blah, blah, blah. And it pulls out a couple options, swing trades that I like. I prefer condors, butterflies, and credit spreads. So it pulls these out. I ask it to give me some probabilities, strike prices, expirations, profit loss, probabilities, etc. And put a little risk graph out there. So that's what this is. Anyways, I think I'm going to cut it here. Try to keep this somewhat shorter. Hope you found this interesting at the very least, and maybe you learned something. And reach out in the comments. Let me know if you're already into some of these stocks. LRCX, that's not one that I've heard of it. I think I've loaded the chart, but I don't really know much about that one. So if you know anything about LRCX or First Solar, you like any of these, yeah, reach out in the comments. Also, you can join our Discord. There's a lot of members in there, a lot of crickets. We got a pretty active trade floor, handful of members, but there's a free section. Not a lot of chatter in there, so I'd love to get some more lively members in there and chat it up. And yeah, as always, happy trading. Thanks for watching.